Wazye, Buju. You are now listening to Kahkenuh Aweyuk, Everyone Together on TikTok Radio, hosted by Kahkenuh Child and Family Services. We appreciate you tuning in to our weekly program every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. on Wawate Radio. Kahkenuh is a community-based child and family well-being agency rooted in and accountable to the First Nation communities we serve. We are here because we want to protect our children, help our families, and nurture our communities. This afternoon, we share the Kahkenuh framework, vision, goals, values, and principles that direct our services to 30 First Nation communities in northwestern Ontario. At Kahkenuh Child and Family Services, we believe the Creator has entrusted us with a sacred responsibility for protecting our children, developing and sustaining strong families, and building healthy communities. The future of our communities is in our children, who need to be nurtured within their family and communities. Kahkenuh was created by the chiefs of the Anishinaabe Aski Nation to strengthen our children, our families, and our communities. Community responsibility for child protection is an essential aspect of Indigenous self-government. At Kahkenuh, our goal is to fulfill the sacred responsibility for developing and sustaining our families that take us back as Aboriginal people to the past in order to prepare us for the future. The concepts, principles, and values that are practiced are the strengths we need now to encourage and ensure healthy families, which in turn will be the foundation of strong and healthy communities. The overall goal of Kahkenuh Child and Family Services is to keep our children with us and within our community. This goal challenges us to nourish the values and principles of our people, draw strengths from the people we serve, and develop and identify human resources at the community level to deal with child protection issues in the community. At Kahkenuh, we have 9 core values that guide our work with children, youth, families, and communities. Number 1, respect. Our agency is rooted in the fundamental value of respect. We have respect for all creation, and we are grateful for the gifts that we are blessed with every day. Throughout our work, we hold deep respect for children, families, communities, elders, traditions, and culture. This respect is demonstrated through humility, a non-judgmental attitude, effective listening, clear communication, and recognition of the unique strengths of others. Number 2, trust. We understand that trust is essential to building effective relationships, and we know that trust must be earned through consistency and dependability. We are committed to being trustworthy in fulfilling the responsibilities inherent in our mandate as an Indigenous child well-being agency. Number 3, honesty. Our respect for those we serve is reflected in our commitment to honesty. We are committed to being consistently truthful in our interactions with others, to be open and direct in identifying issues, to say what we mean, and to follow through with what we say. We are willing to listen with an open mind and an open heart, to hear feedback, and to accept criticism. Number 4, language. Language is the keystone to culture identity and to the preservation of culture. We strive to communicate effectively using our First Nation languages, both verbally and in written materials, with the children, families, and communities we serve. At Kahkenuh, we promote the use of our first language with the children and youth in our care. Number 5, elders. Our elders carry with them the history of our communities and the roots of our culture. They provide us with the wisdom, guidance, and direction and encouragement we need to succeed. They teach us about respect, trust, honesty, reflection, and patience. We always hold the elders in high regard, and we will go to them for help, advice, and support in our work with children, youth, and families. Number 6, culture. We are committed to the provision of services that respect and respond to the cultural heritage and tradition of the First Nation peoples we serve. We recognize that culture is the basis for personal and family identity, pride, and self-esteem. We understand that each First Nation community is unique. That is why our service delivery model and customary care system respects the inherent right and authority of each First Nation to care for their children, youth, and families. Number 7, customary care. We respect traditional, customary practices of caring for children and youth, and we strive to uphold these traditional customs in the ways that we organize and deliver child well-being services. Customary care embraces the inherent jurisdiction of First Nations to make decisions for the children in need of protection. Through customary care, we work to preserve the family unit and to build a network of shared community responsibility for raising children. Number 8, accountability. Through our First Nations mandate, we are entrusted with the responsibility of providing child well-being services. We are accountable to provide high-quality services to children and families. We are committed to excellence and dependability in all aspects of service delivery. And number 9, spirituality. From our Indigenous culture and traditions, we understand that all people are spiritual beings and that our children are sacred gifts from the Creator. The people we serve draw on different belief systems and practices to meet their spiritual needs, and we at Kahkenuh respect these differences. Kahkenuh does not favor one particular set of spiritual beliefs or practice. We are committed to supporting children, youth, and families to develop spiritual strengths through practices that reflect their chosen belief systems. At Kahkenuh, we understand and believe the primary responsibility for the safety and well-being of our children is with the family. If children cannot be cared for within the family, then we look to extended family to care for the children and youth. At the community level, the safety and well-being of children is everyone's responsibility, and anyone who is aware of children in need of protection should ensure that the children and their families receive the assistance needed. The primary purpose of service to families is to help keep them intact and to ensure that children and youth are safe and well. At Kahkenuh, we make our services family-focused, community-based, First Nation controlled, and First Nation delivered. The community will establish methods for resolving disagreements with respect to families and children. At Kahkenuh Child and Family Services, we provide and arrange for guidance of counseling for the family, children, and youth in order to prevent children from being harmed and to keep children with their families and in their own communities wherever possible. Where the First Nation is providing services, Kahkenuh will provide backup, support, and advice. Kahkenuh is the final authority for ensuring that children are safe and well in the communities. Kahkenuh Child and Family Services has a dual service mandate. We are one of 53 children's aid societies in Ontario mandated under the Child, Youth, and Family Services Act to protect children from harm. We are accountable to Ontario for this responsibility. And we are also mandated by our chiefs to provide services that are culturally sensitive to the needs of Indigenous children, families, and First Nations. We are accountable to the chiefs and to the communities for this responsibility. We now invite Rosemary McKay to tell us more about our service model and its history.
Wache to everybody that is listening to Awate Radio. My name is Rosemary McKay and I'm presently working for Kahkenuh Child and Family Stone Special Projects Coordinator. This will be the second story that Kahkenuh will be sharing on their weekly radio show called Kahkenuh Aweyuk E11 Together on TikTok Radio. I will briefly talk to you about Kahkenuh's service model called Mamo Bikawason. This means everyone working together to raise our children, and how Mamo Bikawason was started and why it was developed. The chiefs from Nan, the Anishinaabe Nation, including the elders, created Tiknagan back in 1984. The chiefs back then had a vision that they wanted their own child and family services that is culture appropriate to the ways of their people. They no longer wanted the government to have control over the welfare of their children. They wanted their own families to look after, raise their children, to love them and to keep them safe from harm. Children are a sacred gift from God, and they wanted to see children raised up in their own communities and stay connected to their extended families, friends, and their culture, language, and customs. The children and youth will know their identity and where they come from. The chiefs knew this was their inherent right as lived and practiced by their ancestors in the past. In 1999 to 2000, many changes happened within Tiknagan. There was an organizational review, and one of the recommendations was to create a customary care model. The other change was in the Child and Family Services Act, which I will call CFSA. When children were apprehended through the CFSA, it became much easier and faster to remain in Tiknagan care until they aged out at 18 years old under Society and Crown Wardship Court orders. Before Mamo Bikau's own service model, Tiknagan totally followed their mandate from the CFSA. It was the court judges and lawyers that made the decisions on the children's future on behalf of the chiefs and parents. The First Nation communities basically had no say. Therefore, many children and youth ended up in the court system. So under CFSA, children were snatched and stolen from the parents and in the communities. It was basically the same as the residential school system, if not worse. It created further trauma, anger, distrust, and conflict to Tiknagan communities. Tiknagan then began working to develop a customary care model based on the revisions to the CFSA made in 1984 when Part 10, Section 28 was added. The government did not provide financial help to Tiknagan when they created Mamo Bikau's own service model to assist the First Nations to develop their own child welfare models. In the end, the model stayed with Tiknagan, since the agency was mandated and funded by the ministry. This meant that Tiknagan, for the time being, had to mirror Mamo Bikau's own service model with the ministry standards and case management procedures in their child protection work. This is the reason why Tiknagan worked hard to develop Mamo Bikau's own service model that is based on the chief's original vision. It began with Tiknagan staff from First Nations communities, and then Tiknagan went to the communities to listen to the leadership, elders, grandparents, parents, workers, youth, and other people. Mamo Bikau's own service model is about working together to keep children and families together. The chief and council, grandparents, elders, extended family, resource workers will help parents care for their children. All these people have the right to make decisions, to provide support, and have a say whenever possible what happens to their child, youth, and parents. This is why, as a parent, you sign the Mamo Bikau's own agreement forms when you are experiencing difficulties in looking after your children. Tiknagan is committed to help you to find resources to heal. Your children belong to you, and that is your responsibility to raise your child in their home community. Today, Tiknagan does ongoing work on Mamo Bikau's own service model in order to reflect the changes happening to our families, children, youth, communities, and from the outside world. Amiwe, Kahkenuh Aweyuk. May God bless you all.
At Kahkenuh Child and Family Services, we believe the answers lie within the communities. The Creator entrusted First Nations with the sacred responsibility of protecting our children and developing strong families and healthy communities. The Chiefs created Kahkenuh to support and strengthen our children, our families, and our communities. The future of our communities is our children. Help foster connection in your community by becoming a foster parent or a live-in foster parent with Kahkenuh. Learn more at Kahkenuh.org or call 1-800-465-3624.